Right. So as I was saying, just like, if you have an equation like this, right? You know what to do to solve it, right? Or if you have an equation, like this, right? You know what to do to solve it. Today, we're going to talk about what if you have a quadratic equation and you want to solve that? How does that work, right? Well, first, we need to talk about this thing called zero product property, right? Zero product property. The key word here is product. That means two things multiplied by each other, and zero, right? So we use this property if two things that are being multiplied to each other equal zero. In that case, you can set each one of them equal to zero. So for example, take a look at this thing. You have x minus 3, x times 4. One thing times another thing, it equals 0, right? So you have a product equals 0. In this case, what you can do is you can say x minus 3 is equal to 0, x plus 4 is equal to 0, and just solve them. So x equals 3, x equals negative 4. All right? But you can only do this if you have things multiplied by each other and it equals 0. So if you had something times something equals to 4, that doesn't work. You have to make it 0 first. Okay? All right. And also, if you had something times something minus 5 equals 0, that also doesn't work. It literally has to be 1 times another equals 0. That's it. Okay? All right. So here we go. Let's do some of the problems here. Okay? Okay, so look at this one. It says solve each equation and check the solutions. Now look. This one here, you have something times another thing equals 0, right? But what we want to do is we want to solve the equation. And I know your first, instinct is to multiply them. Don't multiply them, okay? Let's write that here. Don't multiply. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. This one, I have h times something else is equal to 0. So first I take the first one, I say h is equal to 0. Then I take the second one, I say h plus 5 is equal to 0. This first one is already solved, so that's my answer. This one, I do minus 5, h is negative 5 is my answer. Okay? Okay, this one thing times another thing equals 0. So I can do that for this too. N minus 4 is equal to 0. N plus 2 is equal to 0. Add 4 to both sides. N equals 4. Subtract 2 from both sides. N equals negative 2. And there we have it. Okay? So this equation has two solutions. That equation has two solutions. So on your answer space, right? On your answer space, you would say n equals 4 and negative 2. Or you could say n equals 4, n equals negative 2. But there are two answers. Okay. This one. This is not in the same format. You don't have something times another thing equals 0. So what we have to do is we have to factor first. Okay, let's remind ourselves all the things we've learned to factor. First, right, what are the three letters? GCF, right? First GCF, then we factor into the parentheses. So for this one, can you factor out a GCF? Between the 6 and the 3, is there a common number? What? 3 and a y. Okay, so what do I have left from here? So remember, we're dividing by 3y. So I have 2y, and then I'm dividing by 3y. Minus 1 is equal to 0. Now look at what happened. Now I have one thing times another thing equal to 0, and I can now solve this. So first I take this, set it equal to 0. Then I take this, set it equal to 0. Okay, so for the first one, divide by 3, divide by 3. Y is, what's 0 divided by 3? 0. Here, add 1. 2y equals 1. Ooh. Divide by 2, divide by 2, y equals a half. Okay? Both. It has two solutions. Both of them are the answer. Okay? So when we're solving linear equations, there's only one solution ever.
So you write it in the comma form?
Yeah, you can write it in any way, right? You could either say y equals 0, y equals a half, or you could say y equals 0, comma a half, but not, you don't put these in parentheses like we did with the coordinates, okay? Okay, now this one. The issue here is the following. You have something equals to something. Remember, we need to have everything equal to 0, right? So if I want it to be equal to 0, what I want to do is I want to bring everything to the same side. So I'm going to subtract 3m squared first. Okay? So here I have 5m. Remember, these are not like terms, right? 5m and 3m squared are not like terms. So it's 5m minus 3m squared equal to what? 0. Now, from here, is there a GCF I can factor out? Just an m. So I get 5 minus 3m is equal to 0. M equals 0. That's already solved. 5 minus 3m is equal to 0. What do I do?
Subtract 5.
Subtract 5. So I get negative 3m is equal to negative 5. What do I do now?
Divide by 3.
Divide by negative 3. So m is 5 over 3. Right? And again, I have two answers. This one and this one. It's a lot, right? So look at this one. Before, we would have an entire test just on solving 5 minus 3m is equal to 0, right? Now it's only one part of like a bigger problem, right? Like, look at how far you've come. Okay, this one. Is there a GCF I can factor out? No. So I need to factor like this. Okay? So XX, I need two numbers. Multiply to negative 6, add to 5. What do you think?
2 and 3.
So 2 and 3. So I would have to make it one positive, one negative, but then they don't add up to 5. What else?
5 and 1.
5 and 1, or maybe 6 and 1, right?
Yeah, negative.
What? Negative 1, sorry, like this. Okay? So remember, 1 and 6 will be 6, right? But I need to make one of them negative. How do I know? Oh, I did this one wrong. How do I know which one to make negative and which one to make positive? Whatever this sign is, the bigger one has to have that sign. So this is going to be positive 6, negative 1. Okay, so that adds to 5. So it's minus 1 plus 6. Okay, so here, x minus 1 is equal to 0. Add 1, x equals 1. Here, x plus 6 is equal to 0. Subtract 6. X is negative 6. Okay? Okay, now this one. I need to factor this for sure. But the first thing you always do is bring everything to the same side and set it equal to 0. Okay? So first, I'm going to add 28. So that should be your first step always.
Oh, so like the 28 has to be like 0?
Yes. Okay? So this is going to be x squared plus 16x plus 28 is equal to 0. Okay? Okay, so now let's factor this. So I need the factors of 28. And you know what? Always go in order. Here I have x. I have pluses everywhere, so these are going to be pluses. I need the factors of 28. So I start with 1. 1 and 28. Does 2 go into 28?
Yeah.
How many times?
Twice.
2, 14. 3 doesn't. 4 and 7. Do any of these add to 16? Yeah. 2 and 4. 14. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve these. I'll race you to it. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. What do you think? Did I do that right? Yes? Okay. Okay, so now, right? So now you have, in this next page, a whole sheet of these, right? Before we do anything, we're gonna go and see what would be the first thing to do in each of them, right? So for G, what would be the first thing to do for that one? Subtract the 27. Okay, we're not gonna do it yet. H, what would be the first thing to do? Yeah. For H, we factor, right? Okay, so let's do the first one. So first we said we're gonna subtract 27. G squared plus 6G minus 27 is equal to 0. All right, so look, I need two numbers that multiply to negative 27. So again, let's do this. One factor is 127. But one of them has to be negative, right? How do I know which one to make negative? The smaller one. Because the 6 is positive, the big number has to have the same sign as the 6. So I make this one negative. Okay, that doesn't add to 6. Does 2 go into 27? No. Does 3 go into 27? How many times? 9. I need to make this one. Does that work?
Yeah.
Yes. So G minus 3, G plus 9. Let's pause here for a minute. Do you see how every single time I never leave out the equals 0? That's what tells me what I'm doing, right? So now G minus 3 is equal to 0. What's G going to equal? Positive 3. And what's G going to equal here? Negative 9. Okay. h, you're going to factor and solve. You're going to do this on your own. Ready? On your mark, get set, go! Next one, for I, is there a GCF we can factor out? No GCF. So I need to factor this, right? Remember how I taught you last time? Multiply this to this. So I get x squared plus 11x plus 18. And x, what two numbers give us positive 18 and positive 11? What do we think? It's 1 and what?
10.
1 and
Oh,
1 and 18. 2 and what? 9. 3 and what? 6. Do we have a winner so far? No? I see one. Which one? 2 and 9. But now I need to put back the 3 that I took away. And now, what do I divide by? 3. So I have 3x plus 2, x plus 3 is equal to 0. Okay? So 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. X plus 3 is equal to 0. Minus 2 minus 2. 3x equals negative 2. Divide by 3. Negative 2 over 3. Okay? Minus 3. X equals negative 3. Okay? Okay, let's skip to L, this one. I can't. Okay, let's skip to L, this one. What am I going to do first here? Before that. Combine. So remember, this needs to say equals 0. So I need to bring all of that to the other side. So first I'm going to do minus 3b squared. And also what else? Plus 5b. Everything moves here. So look at what I have. 15b squared minus 14b minus 8 is equal to 0. Okay, and then we factor this. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. The rest of these, you're going to work on them as a classwork right now. You're going to work on them alone. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I want you to do JKLMN. Okay, all right, go. Actually, you know what? Stop. I have a change I need to make here. This one has a typo. Let's do this one. Let's do M. This one has a typo. Look at this one. Over here, can you put an X? It's missing an X. So now let's do this. So now, is there a GCF I can factor from here? X. So now I get x squared plus 4x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now, I have an x here, but this one, I need to factor it. X What do you think? Two numbers that multiply to 3 and add to 4?
3 and 1.
3 and 1. Now look at this. I have one thing times another thing times another thing equal to 0. I have 3 things. And you know what? That's fine. I can set each one of them equal to 0. So x equals -3, x equals -1, and from here, x equals 0. This one has 3 solutions, and that's okay. Okay? All right, so go ahead and continue working on the other two. So let's do J, right? So for J, if I multiply this, right, then I get p squared minus 19p plus 70 is equal to 0. Okay? So now p, and look, if it's minus plus, it's got to be minus minus. So now I need two numbers that multiply to 70 but add to -19. Okay? So that's going to be -1 and -70, -2 and -35, right? What else? -5 and -14. Okay? And this is the one. Now I put the 10 back. And so here I'm going to divide by 5. Here I'm going to divide by 2. So I'm going to get 2p minus 1, 5p minus 7 equal to 0. Okay? And then you solve that. Okay? Now, take a look at this next one. I subtract 20. This is where, okay, so now I get 6n squared plus 7n minus 20 is equal to 0. Now, take a look. If I want to factor this in the same way, with the 6 times the -20, that'll be n squared plus 7n minus 120 is equal to 0. And that's a pain in the neck, actually. Because to get all the factors of -120, for me, it's harder than to do guess and check, right? Ooh. So why don't we do guess and check for this one? Oopsies. So let's see. Let's see how that works. Look. I need a way to get 6n squared. So one way is 3n and 2n. Does that give me 6n squared? Yeah. Now I need numbers to multiply to 20. What are some numbers that multiply to 20? 1 and 20, 5 and 4, 2 and 10. Okay, so let's start with 5 and 4. Bear with me on this, okay? 5 and 4. This is not right. I purposely wrote it wrong because I want to show you why. What needs to happen here is, remember FOIL, first, outer, inner, last? The outer and the inner have to be 7. What's the outer? 12n. What's the inner? 10n. Is there any way to combine those to get 7n? The 10n and the 12n? No. So this is not right. What I do first is I switch. This is why it's called guess and check, because you guess and then you check. What I'm going to do next, okay, let me just switch the 4 and the 5. So now the outer gives me 15. Yeah? The inner gives me what?
Doesn't it give you 15n?
15n. And the inner gives me 8n. Is there any way to combine those into a 7n?
Yeah.
How? -8. -8. That means this becomes the negative and this becomes the positive. Do you see that? Okay. So that's how I would actually do that. Why don't we try that with this one? I need 15b squared. So let's do 3b and 5b. Okay? Because that's 15b squared. Now I need some ways to get an 8. 1 and 8, 2 and 4. With these ones, pro tip, I start with numbers that are closer to each other. So instead of the 1 and 8, I start with the 2 and 4. Okay? So why don't we try that? Let's try 4 and 2. What does this give me, the outer one? 6b. 20b. Okay? Does that work? Does that give you a 14? Well, 20 minus 6 is 14, so it does. So this will be negative and this will be positive. Okay? Okay. This last one,
Is that the answer for?
no, then you have to like set them equal to 0 and solve them. Okay? Okay. And then this next one, first we have to factor out a 2. And then we have to factor. Okay? So that you can factor. It'll be x minus 9, x minus 7. Okay? Because 9 and 7 multiply to 72, but then they add, I'm sorry, 9 and 8. Oh my God, sorry. No. 9 and 8 multiply to 72, but they add to 17. Okay? All right, so then you have homework for this, and the homework for this is called factoring. It's not the 8-point worksheets.